Hey everybody, and welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm amorphous gem of green jelly.
I don't know how to respond to that in a way that's family friendly.
Then respond to it in a way that is not family friendly.
No magical imaginary jellies for me, thanks.
All right, if you say so.
You never know what someone might use it for.
I suppose that's fair.
So what have you been up to since last we spake?
Oh, let me think. Yeah, I've not done a whole lot. Not gonna lie. Let's see. I played Overwatch. Played a little bit of that game where the water tastes like wine. That game's pretty good.
Oh,
Just start on it. Yeah,
what game is that?
I just told you where the water tastes like wine.
Is that literally the name of the game?
That's the name of the game. It's a story trading game where you tell little short stories.
Oh, I love those.
Like hyper short stories, and then you use those stories to tell other people so you can get more stories, and then your stories will evolve. So if you send it out into the wild, it may come back to you hyperbolized. So it's pretty interesting. I haven't played a whole lot of it, but enough of it to get a taste.
Oh, this is a video game, not a board game?
Oh, yeah. No, if you're looking for a good board game, Muse. Play Muse.
Muse.
It's kind of like Dixit. So you have
like
a tableau of cards, and you're trying to get somebody to guess one of the cards, and the cards are all abstract images, as you do. But in order to give a guess, you draw a card, and it tells you how you can do your guess. Sometimes it's just like one word. Sometimes it's hum a tune. Sometimes it's name a movie. And that's how you get people to guess which card you're talking about.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I haven't played it yet, but real clever.
That sounds like something I would like to play.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty solid game.
I have actually been reading all the Harry Potter books.
Really? Again? Or is this your first time?
This is my first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're not terrible. They're fine.
I'm on Goblet of Fire at the moment.
All right. That one's really good. Most people say that's the best one.
Well, I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good children's fare.
Yeah, no, they're not bad.
I will say one thing. Rowling is very good at Chekhov's gun.
Oh, yeah.
Really good at it.
That's fair. Yeah, she makes sure everything matters.
Because I forget which one it was, but I think it was the second one, where Ron broke his wand. And for the whole book, I'm just going, why doesn't Harry just buy him another wand? Because he's got
No, I know, right?
untold riches.
Because Harry's kind of a dick. You know, he doesn't buy anybody Christmas presents until, like, book 4. And there's a scene where they're like, you bought good presents this year, Harry, just like you do every year. It's like, all right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then at the end, the broken wand actually came of use. But still.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah, no, I know, right? There's a bunch of, like, weird stuff in there. Have you noticed how there's absolutely no secondary characters?
I have noticed that, yes.
There are 3 primaries and a buttload of tertiaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's like right. It. As far as secondary characters go, Hagrid and I wanted to call him Gandalf, and I feel so bad about myself right now. And Dumbledore are really the only secondary characters, and only then barely. Really, it's just Hagrid.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a shame she did not kill Hagrid. Like, that's a cop-out move, not killing Hagrid.
So here's a thing.
Yeah, hit me.
I grew up in this time where I was too old for the books when they came out.
Yeah.
So it just never came up on my radar, really. And by the time I may have been interested, it was like super overhyped.
Oh, yeah. No,
so
100%.
My actual first exposure to Harry Potter was Wizard People, Dear Reader.
Yes.
And I've watched that I don't know how many times. So
because it's very good.
Even now, if you told me, hey, name all the secondary characters.
Oh, you would come up with all of the names from Wizard People, Dear Readers.
It's like,
they're more memorable.
You said Hagrid, and I was like, Hagrid. Oh, yeah, the big guy. Not Hagar the Horrible.
Yeah, Hagar the Horrible.
Or Hardcastle McCormick. I know those people.
I love Hardcastle McCormick.
Or Snake with her black robes galore.
Yes.
Yes. That's my favorite movie in the world.
Be good.
If no one has watched that, go look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're not watching that, then you are wasting your life.
It's like, I don't really want to watch the movies now because I know Wizard People exists, and he didn't do any of the other ones. So
yeah.
I found out the guy that did that had no idea what Harry Potter was.
Hey, that's fine. That makes it even better.
Yeah, he dubbed over it, basically just picking up information from his friends.
See, that's actually very good. And that's probably one of the reasons why it's so great, because it's so pure, you know?
It's like, well, he's got the gist of it, but who cares about the details?
I mean, to be fair, Rowling doesn't really care about the details.
One thing I will note is because certain things have been spoiled, like who marries who at the end.
Yeah, well, don't worry about too much about that.
Well, I remember all these people being so upset about just how all of that went down.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, so the worst thing about the epilogue is that it was written after the first book, so it's just written poorly.
Well, I haven't read that, but I just know people got really upset about who got shipped with who and blah blah blah. But knowing that and reading them from the start, it's like, guys, this was telegraphed from book one. I know what you're talking about.
Especially Ron Hermione, because that's like that ship just makes sense. Like they're the only two people who like actually act like they might actually end up in a relationship together.
Yep. And especially just by book 4, it's like, yeah, this is pretty obvious, guys. I don't know how you're missing out on this.
Because they're dumb.
I'm personally on the Harry Cho train, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, too bad.
I know.
Too bad for you. What else was I going to say? Oh, don't try to think about the world building for more than 1.5 seconds.
I really try not to, because it just annoys me.
It just falls apart.
It's like, guys,
just don't think about it.
I realize that you're all in the wizarding world and things
can't think about it.
Aren't like in the muggle world. You can't use muggle things, but ballpoint pens.
Don't try.
Guys, ballpoint pens.
Or just anything. There's so many little like world building things that will like drive you nuts.
Yeah, because in book 4, they're like, oh yeah, there's a wizard wireless. So you guys have radio, but not ballpoint pens.
Yeah.
Guys.
No, there's all sorts of like weird nonsense that you just can't deal with.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Just silly little things that just don't make sense.
Oh yeah. No, there's tons of it. Because it's like it has whimsy trump everything.
Yes. Well, and sometimes it really doesn't make sense, because to get around her world building, she's had to resort to making the wizards like basically terrible people. Like, oh yeah, a muggle saw us, therefore we're just going to screw with their memory and laugh about it. Like, he'll be fine. He's drooling. He doesn't remember his wife's name. He'll get over it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He saw a magic trick. Shouldn't have seen that. It's really on him, honestly. He shouldn't have been looking this direction. I'll probably finish those soon-ish, because I've been listening to the audiobook version that was read by Stephen Fry.
Oh, I bet that's at least enjoyable to listen to.
It's delightful. I don't think I could actually read it, but having Stephen Fry whisper it into my ear is nice.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure that's good.
It's very nice. But that's all I've been up to, really. So you want to talk about ye old flip-flappers?
Ye old flippity flappers. So Ben,
Yes.
what are birds?
You know, we just don't know.
I mean, that's what I think flippy flappers are, right? Flippity flappers, they're birds.
Yeah.
Birds are flip flaps.
Well, I think the same result comes out of watching the show, too.
What, we just don't know?
We just don't know.
I thought it was pretty good. It was a fine show.
Yeah, so I'll give a brief overview. Flip Flappers is a fall 2016 anime about two girls. One is a boring piece of purple bread, and the other one is a manic pixie.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
Now the
she's not
story,
that boring, but I mean the point is though is that she is kind of she herself is self boring. She has created herself to be boring. Yeah.
So the rundown of the story is that it follows our two Technicolor lesbian heroines on a journey into the magical land of make-believe.
Yeah.
To find out who they truly are.
Yeah. And have mommy issues.
It is a visual extravaganza that can only be described as if Lisa Frank had done the art direction for Fooly Cooly.
I would be more like if she did the art direction for Madoka. because the pure illusion realms are very similar to the witch spaces, but
Yes,
instead
I
of
would go
being
with that.
instead of being grimdark, it is pretty cute,
Super
and
hyper.
sometimes Mad Max. But
Yes.
we'll not worry about that.
So it's available on Crunchyroll right now, and you should definitely check it out if you like magical girls and or mind trips.
Or very good animation, because the animation is
Well,
quite
obviously.
spot on.
Before we get into spoiler land, what was your take?
I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be more like Nanoha, is basically what I wanted at the end of the day. I wish there had been more fights.
More fights and more friendship.
More fights, yeah. And I wish the main theme
Mm-hmm.
of the last quarter of the show had been better telegraphed in the first half of the show. I understand having like good turns, like having a good like twist or a turn, and I think they telegraphed that something weird was going on. The weird thing that was going on, but I wish the theme had started early.
Yeah,
because the theme by the end of the show is like mommy issues, and the theme in the beginning of the show is don't be boring.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wish those melded together.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. I gave it a solid B.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It's a fine watch.
Yeah.
The real question is too sexy or just too sexy enough? I think it's just too sexy enough.
There is a lot of fan service in the show, but for some reason it never felt fan service-y.
I would agree. I think they did a good job of having it be not gross.
Yeah, in all the scenes where there is quote-unquote fan service, it's like, no, that seems like a reasonable situation, actually.
Yeah, no, it's reasonable. Some of the outfits are a little much.
Well, they're in imaginary land.
Well, especially for the last magical girl we meet, her outfit's a little much. But,
it suits her personality. I don't know what to say.
It's nothing too beyond the pale.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing too bad.
But it's definitely worth a watch if you're into that kind of stuff.
It might ping the lollydar a little bit.
As long as you don't lewd them, I think you're fine.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So let's get into spoiler land. This is your spoiler warning.
I like spoiler land. Is this pure spoil? I can do it. I can do this.
Here it comes.
Oh no, I don't think I can. Spoiler's a hard one. Let me write it down. Let's see if I can get this. What would it be?
Poilusion?
No, Spoilusion. That's not too bad. Now can I say it faster? Pure Supoilua. Nah, it doesn't ring off.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work super well.
Sad.
Well, you try what you can.
Eh.
We're entering pure spoiler at this point. There
Indeed.
we go. We'll just give up. The I can't even say it. Katakana is. Let's just quit the podcast and I'll just never speak again. Let's just.
So how much have you had to drink so far?
I've had nothing to drink so far. That may be my problem.
Yeah. So yeah, the main story of the show
kicks in about halfway through, which, to be fair, is pretty typical these days. So I'm not too upset about that.
It is.
I just wish the theme had started earlier. If you're gonna have the main story be about moms and mommy issues, you need to start that stuff around episode 3.
I felt the same way. It was like there were 2 shows, and
yeah, I liked both
because I actually sussed out like 2 main themes, but one theme didn't really transfer to the other half of the show. Like the first half of the show, I really caught on to this is definitely like a left brain, right brain type thing, because you got super logical girl versus crazy creative girl.
No, absolutely.
And you've got the brain theme is everywhere. You got the little robot with the brain in it. You've got all these different dualities doing the same thing.
They're like literal brain spaces, right? So like the pure illusion, the magic realms they go to are definitely like in people.
Well, some of them are definitely.
Well,
the other ones are
questionable.
Depends on how
deep you go. They're still very much influenced by the people around them, right?
Yes, but some of them are explicitly in people's heads.
I think it's just how deep you go, right? Because like there's the doorway that lets you go into the deeper. So there's like the surface realm, and then there's like an even deeper realm than that, which is 100% like. So I guess if you were to think about it, it's like pure illusion's top is like the creative side of someone's mind, and then the pure illusion deep deep would be like their more logical core, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you can break them down there, and so don't go there. You can play around all day.
You also had the two like organizations. You had the one that was like highly structured and religious, like
and
the other one that was
super loosey goosey
and crazy.
Dude, how cool is that scientist though? I loved the scientist.
Man, he was something else. If we had more scientists like that pink-haired guy,
I love him.
We would love him. I think more people would be interested in STEM for one thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I could just sit there and while clacking on my mechanical keyboard and somehow science would pop out, A+.
I think I've played Overwatch with a couple of those people. But the other half of the show, it was definitely mommy issues, but I got a lot of the whole Maiden mother Crone thing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
All in like one person.
Yeah, which is like really cool and interesting. And I really love the, the twisted maternal love aspect of Dark Mimi, which is like really good because that's like a real thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
People bring that up a lot. The sort of dark mother figure of like, my love is so smothering that,
I would rather destroy you.
Yeah.
Than continue this relationship.
I would rather kill you than see you hurt. is sort of that twisted love. And I thought it was very interesting. And I like that. I just wish that had been telegraphed earlier in the show.
Well, I think they made an attempt, but it was buried way too fast. Because I think in the second episode, when they're stranded on the island, they talk about what kind of wish they would get once they have collected all those amorphous blobs.
And she says she'd like to meet her parents.
Yeah, meet her parents. And so, but it's never brought up again.
Spoilers, you already have.
One's inside you.
One's inside you, and one is the coolest Gar scientist guy ever.
I don't know how I feel about that guy.
Dr. Salt, I wish he'd had a bit more.
So Dr. Salt seemed really cool, because he seemed very much like the guy in charge. He's like a cross between Gendo and what's his face from Gurren Lagann, Aniki from Gurren Lagann.
But he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything, and then when you find out at the end that, oh yeah, Kokono's his daughter, and he's been trying to protect her, was he?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the show definitely had some like faults, right?
We find out at the end that Kokono's been living with her grandmother, quote unquote, who's really
who's been an evil robot
this whole time of the other organization, and Salt has to have known that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, why don't you just live here where you're safe? Herp-a-derp.
Well, to be fair, that evil robot grandma wasn't trying to hurt her actively yet, so.
Not until the end, no.
Not until the end.
And that twist was kind of, I didn't like the grandma twist. I felt it
was all right.
I felt it coming, but something about it just didn't sit right with me.
I don't know. I thought it was fine.
Because the robot, like, insta-dies. It's like, but, she's been caring for Kokona for who knows how long. And Kokona's just like, oh, I guess she betrayed me. Dead. And never thinks about her again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Some other things that they weren't great. One was like the whole religion thing. Like that whole society.
Yeah.
I assume that head guy was Salt's father that went insane when Mimi and Paprika messed with pure illusion and screwed with his head.
Yeah.
But it wasn't explicitly stated, so he could have just been some other crazy guy.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, though. It doesn't, I don't think I think it was telegraphed enough. It didn't need to be explicitly stated. It doesn't have to have his mask fall off and it's like, oh, it was him, because at that point the reveal is weak. Because, like, you've put it together, so a reveal is pointless. Any reveal they were to do would just feel, like, weak. Like, it's like, oh, it was this guy. It's like, well, yeah, everyone here knows.
I guess.
So I think it's better to leave him masked the whole time, right? Because then you have he is not that person anymore. And we all know that. If he was that person, he is definitely not that now.
But at the same time, it's like, well, what was the point of the whole cult in the first place then? Just take over the world?
No. He wanted to break down the barrier between reality and pure illusion, right?
That was his stated goal. But his subordinates said it was to take over the world, because once they had done that and they had control of pure illusion, then they would de facto have control of the world.
Maybe. But I think he just wanted to break down the barrier between reality and pure illusion, right?
Mm. Yeah.
It's basically the same scheme. It's the same scheme from Escaflowne when you get right down to it. It's a zone of ultimate destiny thing where it's like, hey, if we just literally give everybody the ability to do what they want all the time, this couldn't possibly end poorly. If everyone's dreams can be fulfilled simultaneously, how could that be bad?
Yeah.
I think we're dealing in that logical space here.
Well, actually, now that you bring up Escaflowne, one of the other questions I had is at the end.
Yeah.
Why can't/won't Mimi leave the pure illusion realm?
Well, because I don't think she can. I think she's just pure that now.
Is she?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
But let's go ahead and get into this. What did you think about the ending?
I felt,
I mean,
at the very
overall-
end, overall,
the ending was fine.
it was fine. I felt it was
But I just mean the
standard.
specifics of it. Yeah, it was pretty standard.
Like what specifically? Like just the last episode or bits and pieces of
Like
it?
the last bit of the last episode. What I'm specifically trying to say here is, so, like after like the climactic battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes ostensibly home to where she's supposed to be, and it's completely demagikified.
Yeah.
Like her bunny is just like a regular bunny. Everything is gray and more normal.
Uh-huh.
And then it was like, oh, nope, that's another pure illusion realm. Here's the happy one.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
I didn't.
I would have rather it been like, oh, you were actually trapped in a pure illusion realm your entire life, which makes sense thematically for how the show worked.
I'd agree.
And the true reality is this more bland one. Now, you can still visit the other layers of pure illusion, and that's fine, and there's your happy end. But I would have rather standard reality be that, literal standard reality,
Yeah.
where everything is like no magic, no fantasy injected in at all. I think that would be more interesting from a world building standpoint.
Yeah.
And more on point thematically.
I would agree. Yeah, the whole swapperoo there at the end, like the bait and switch.
It also wasn't needed, right?
It didn't feel needed. And
if you're not going to do something interesting like that with it,
why put
then
it
you
in?
shouldn't have done it. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of those things where I think they had two endings planned, and rather than pick between the two, they sort of test marketed it in the show itself.
Yeah. I can
know what I mean?
understand why they didn't just stick with the everything is broken now, you can't go back ending.
Oh,
because
that's dumb. I don't like that. I think she should. I think it does want a happy ending, 100%. I just think the way they did it was silly. The happy ending should have been is she can access pure illusion, but the real world is more bland than the setting of the show as a whole.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because if they had kept that, it would have sort of done the old everything, the whole show was a dream trope. And that wouldn't have sat well with me, but because they've done this continuously through the show of, oh, wait, are we still in an illusion? Are we not in illusion? To know what is reality, which reality am I in right now? It would have fit.
Well, and it also would have fit because of the idea that Mimi says that I have created pure illusion for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense that she had existed her entire life inside of a pure illusion. And what's interesting though is the way pure illusion seems to work is it's not really it's not like you're in a coma or something. It's just like an extra layer of reality. In a way, it's very similar to Dr. McNinja.
Is it now?
Did you ever finish Dr. McNinja?
I did not.
Okay, so the cosmology, and I can't believe I'm going to say the cosmology of Dr. McNinja, but in the cosmology of Dr. McNinja, there is our world, which is normal, bland world. There is extreme world, which is just like everything turned to 11. There are unicorns that are motorcycles, and like everything is just radical and like super 80s bonkers.
So Kamen Rider.
And way more over the top.
Oh.
Like super crazy over the top. There are ghost wizards. Everything's like super rad and awesome. And
JoJo's Bizarre
bananas.
Kamen Rider.
Turn that to 11, and that's radical world.
Right.
And what Dr. McNinja's world is it's a realm that is in between the two, where things are just crazy enough that there is a doctor who is a ninja, and things are just bland enough that he's just a doctor that sometimes fights gorillas.
Just sometimes,
and I feel
though.
like, yeah, I know, right? And that's how I sort of feel like the pure illusion scale worked, right? Where it's like there's the surface world is probably standard reality, which is what we got the taste of there at the end. And then maybe the realm Kokona was stuck in, that the show took place in, was just like the one layer deeper.
Yeah, I could see that.
Where there's just enough magic in it.
Yeah.
And I think the show would have supported that and have that still be a good ending, where it's like the good ending is you have escaped pure illusion. That is a good. But you can still visit there. That is also a good.
I feel like if they were going to pull that ending off, they could have shut off pure illusion, like its purpose has been fulfilled, but the only way they can do that is if Paprika escaped too. If you left it where it was going, where her best friend is trapped forever in this realm that is now beyond her reach for all time, then yeah, that's a sucky ending. But if it's just like,
See, I don't want that.
now you're both stuck on this side, you can't go back, but it's okay because we've got each other and da-da-da, life goes on, that'd be a good ending, I think.
Well, what I'm saying is I think the correct ending is not that she can't go back. I think locking pure illusion away is silly, just from a well, it's
you'd have to put restrictions on it somehow if you're going to pull off that ending.
well, sort of, because so pure illusion realms are basically dream worlds, right?
Mhm.
So they're a world that you could go to in your dreams, right?
Right.
So I think it is perfectly valid to not have it locked away, right? Because you could visit it like you could when you sleep.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Something
that's
like
fine.
that. Yeah.
But so, like, all the other characters besides those two were, like, locked out forever or something. But those two
Oh,
aren't.
yeah, and that would be perfectly
And only
valid.
when they're together.
Yeah, sure.
Something like
however you want to do it. But I think, yeah.
So one of the other things was about the two Mimis.
Yes.
Question is, where did the evil Mimi come from? Because in the
that's
show,
another thing.
show, we get the flashback when, Mimi has her daughter Kokona stolen away from her.
Yeah.
And she goes into pure illusion, and a thought or something suggests itself to her in manifested form, saying, hey, why don't you just let me take care of this? And I'll make sure it never happens again. And so you think at the time, okay, well, this is just a part of her, maybe, that is manifesting itself and just sort of taking over.
Yeah.
The problem comes up towards the end of the show where the other side of her doesn't seem to have the power or the want to destroy the other side of herself, which is putting her daughter in danger. And that may be like a mother thing. Oh, she has to find her own path and fight this fight on her own. Fine. But the issue comes up when Salt is presented with the exact same option. And we see that.
Yeah.
So it's either the pure illusion realm is taking this thought out of their heads and manifesting itself and saying, hey, let me take all your regret away and nothing bad will happen, I swear. Or it's some sort of latent spirit consciousness inside pure illusion that is like tempting those people. It's one of the two.
It could be either, right? Because pure illusion is what it says on the tin, right? It's an illusion. It's a way to sort of grant yourself fantasies, and manifest them upon multiple realities at once. So I think both readings could be valid, right? That it is pure illusion being able to tempt you. Yeah. While at the same time, I think it's an inherent nature within pure illusion, but it's also part of yourself.
So it's like that temptation to just sort of let
to escape,
escape reality.
It's escapism. And what's interesting, right, is the people who can access pure illusion the best and manipulate it in the most correct and coherent way are, Kokona and Paprika when they're together, right? Because they have everything they want already, so it can't tempt them, and they can manipulate it. Because now they are existing in a sort of a what's the way to put this? They're in a state in which they can play with pure illusion because they are already in their most content state. Because it can't sort of get them or tempt them.
That's a good reading. I like that.
Sure, right?
Yeah.
Because that's sort of the difference, right? Because the amorphous children and Yayaka can enter there via science instead of magic, with capital letters, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a hard time. They can't find amorphouses. They can fight, and they're still competent, but they can't utilize the world to its fullest.
And they can't transform.
Where the other two can. But Yaya can once she realizes that she has everything she wants in her friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. That's good. That's a good one. I like that.
Same. Escapism can't tempt you to fully escape to it if you are already grounded. Right? That's sort of what it's trying to get at.
And that definitely makes sense for all the other characters. I just had a hard time understanding if you had the two Mimis together there at the end in the climactic battle.
Yeah.
I can sort of see the reading where the good side of Mimi is just saying, hey, daughter, you go fight. This is your fight. You do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, can't you do something too? A little bit? Just a little? Or have you just completely let this other entity like just take over? Because I assume that they are still the same, one and the same person. It's just two different sides of, Mother Crone.
Perhaps, or we could definitely go, let's get buck wild up here. You've heard Jordan Peterson's thing about sacrifice, right? Where the ultimate sacrifice is child sacrifice because you're letting them into this world that will kill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Isn't that sort of what the good side of Mimi is doing, right? Where she's giving her daughter the ability to defeat the evils of the world herself without interfering in it.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was saying about the whole
the perfect
sort of pushing her out of the nest.
Yeah. I think that's what's going on because she is definitely that Mimi is definitely best Mimi, best mom Mimi, and best mom Mimi is like, not only am I going to give you this challenge, I'm going to let you do it on your own because I know you can do it because you're set up to win.
Yeah.
Without me doing anything directly. Also, how good was that evil flip-flapping? And how good is that evil Mimi?
Oh, I was definitely down with the evil outfit, yes.
V good. Also, while we're on the subject, now, if you were to describe how older Papika looked with her short haircut, how might you describe that?
Like let's
see if you can remember my phrase that I like to use so often in these things. What is it?
I don't actually know, but I am distinctly reminded of the girl from Mirai Nikki.
Oh, see, that's good too.
She looked just like her.
Okay, so hold on. Let's walk through this more. How would you, that actually works brilliantly. How would you describe that girl? Let's see if you can remember my very often used and lovely phrase.
I cannot remember your often used and distinctly. Yeah.
Okay, look. You're killing me. I'm actually dying. Here. Okay, here. I'm just going to send this to you and see if you can remember what my preferred type
I knew
may or may not be.
Yes, it's a yandere. But I
it's
forgot
the full phrase, brother.
The femme-leaning androgynous yandere.
There you go. With preferably what shade of hair?
I assume pink, but this one's got orange.
Red.
Is it red?
Who is my favorite Overwatch character?
Moira.
And what is she?
A femme-leaning androgynous yandere.
See, there you go. How hard is this?
To be fair, on the record, I've never heard you say that before.
I've said that like twice on this podcast, I promise you.
I'm not going to go back and listen to all of them to find out.
Promise you this is a thing.
But twice is not often, just, for the record. However.
Often enough. So if you were to describe old-looking Papika, what phrase might you use?
Is it a femme-leaning androgynous red-haired yandere?
Probably not the yandere part, but, again, like 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
So, okay, if we're going to bring this up.
I guess 4 out of 5 ain't bad.
I'm going to roll up my sleeves here and ask the hard question. Papika has been around since her mom was a little girl.
Yeah, she got de-aged. There's some weird vibes going on, and it's best not to worry about it.
Because once we find that out, and they start throwing I love yous at each other, it starts getting really awkward.
Don't worry about it.
Like,
try not to worry about it too
I was
much.
down with this relationship last episode, but now...
it's a little cringeworthy.
Well, she lost her memory, so it's fine. Yeah, but she got it back.
Well, at worst, it's a Prince Gingy situation.
That's worse.
I'm just saying. Worse. At worst, it's a Prince Gingy situation. So let's not delve into that too much.
So Coconut, here's the deal. I was in love with your mother. I didn't remember your mother, but you look like her, so I'm in love with you now. But now I've got my memory back, and your mother is inside you, and that's totally cool.
Don't worry about it too much. I think this is a recipe for disaster to keep thinking about, so let's not.
The problem with that is, at the end, the wedding dress transformation just sort of puts the nice little underline over, this is totally a thing, you guys.
Yeah, I know, right?
Even though she is totally her aunt.
Yeah, well, she got de-aged, it's fine. Look, Sasami is technically
500 years old.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Sasami doesn't fall for anyone. Tsunami might.
Look, just don't crush my fanfic dreams here.
So I would like to do a shout out for some of the little cool things that I actually really liked in the show.
Okay. The design of almost every evil character.
Yes, especially the one in the desert. I love
so
that
good,
one.
right?
Best
she
villain.
was very good.
Best villain in the whole
She's
show. Even better than Mimi at the end, I think. Because
Yeah, okay, maybe.
she had the whole femme fatale thing going on, and she was a
Oh wow,
delightfully horrendous monster.
Oh yeah, no, very good.
It's like,
very good.
Yeah,
Big
you
fan.
are just bad news from first look. Nope.
Oh yeah, you
Nope.
see her and you're like,
nope.
you bad, but you so good.
Other things are all the nods to like all the other genres and even specific shows.
Oh no, I know, right? Especially since they use that in a lot of the I guess pure realms, Buddhism. Maybe I should have thought about it that way. Oh, that would have been interesting. Well, let's leave the Buddhist read for later.
Put a pin in that.
They are technically pure realms. Oh, that's very interesting.
So we had.
I'm sure that's on purpose.
Let me see which ones I wrote down.
We
had.
But yeah, they're all each different one is like a different anime genre, and it's like really cool and interesting.
Yeah, the third episode was basically
it's mostly for fun.
DBZ, Sailor Moon, and Mad Max, like all at once.
Basically, Fist of the North Star. Let's just boil it down to that.
Pretty much. We had Gurren Lagann and Gundam. Transformers. One of the last episodes, when the evil organization is storming the Flip Flap organization, it's basically end of Evangelion. Just straight up.
Yeah, there's lots of Evangelion references.
Even the third child. I was like, wow, that's pretty on the nose, guys.
Yeah, they definitely on purpose. You can tell this is definitely one of those shows it's done by like some weird studio no one's ever heard of. So it's definitely like an insider thing, right? They're doing a lot of this because it's a lot of you guys are what inspired us. So this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite parts of the show was actually when Kokona visits the realm where she's like the only person.
That was a very good episode.
And for two main reasons. One is it really shows how much of a piece of stale bread she is at the time, because even in a world with no people, and she knows there's no people, she still follows all the rules, including walking signals.
Yep.
When there's no traffic.
Yeah. And the fact that like every person that she sort of invents for herself is just some other version of Papika.
It's not only just another version of Papika, it's things that she wants in life that just become manifest in Papika's form.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because one of them was like she wanted to live a thug life, essentially, like a delinquent.
Yeah. Yep. Like a Yankee.
Yeah.
No, that was a very good episode. The other very good episode is the one where they're Iro.
Yes. That was kind of disturbing
excellent
at the
episode.
End. Like,
it's very good though.
Right in the Kokoro.
I know, right? I think those are probably the two best episodes.
I wish they had done a little bit more with the Iro stuff.
I wish they had done a little bit more with deep.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Realms.
Like if they had done Iro version 2 on someone else, like Salt, for instance. That's what I thought was going to happen when he went in that machine at the end. I'm like, oh, we're going to deep dive on Salt. Cool.
It's like, that would be very interesting. It's like, let's fix Salt's problems. Because it's very,
I assumed
kind of,
at the end, Salt would like drag evil Mimi into like his own realm or something. And
I thought
it would be like
maybe.
his unending love for his past wife would be the only thing that could like destroy her.
Yeah.
Or something. Or like the two parents' love eventually destroys the evil manifestation of the Crone. But
yeah, I thought that, or like maybe Papika and Kokona would go into his deep realm and sort of fix that.
That would have been cool. But like, let's make him happy again. Poor Salt.
Let's help him work through his deep therapy times.
Yeah, because he needs them.
He really does. The poor guy.
His wife turned into a monster and then evaporated.
You'll get that in anime.
Sometimes that happens, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't say that the two leads being girls and all the talk of Daisuke and all that stuff is, I know it's clearly shipping material.
Oh, 100%.
But I can't really say that it actually feels like PC pandering.
Welcome to Japan, man, though.
I know.
Japan's just...
that.
I wrote Sailor Business about this. It's like you just can't.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't put Western ideas about this onto Eastern contexts.
Yeah,
like it's just very hard to do.
I know that's what an American audience would think, but at the same time, I'm watching it. It's
very
like
hard to do.
Well, they're teenagers and they keep using the word ski.
I've taken a lot of classes about this
and
nonsense.
There's so many different readings of that, and especially in this context, it's like the wedding dress transformation, obviously, but
yeah, well, again, man,
yeah, I don't know.
Sex and sexuality issues in the Japanese culture, coming at it from a modern progressive standpoint, just don't map well.
They really don't.
Try not to worry about it too much.
So
take it to mean how you want it to mean, and sure,
yeah, like,
but just don't.
Okay, sure,
man. Again, how do you deal with the fact that like the archetypical romantic hero of a culture is Prince Genji, okay?
Yeah.
And he's still being applied in 2018. So just try not to.
I just remembered that one of the things that she wanted Papika to be was a love hotel lover.
Yep.
Until she decided that's not what she wanted and made her go away. So mixed signals.
So
lots of mixed signals.
Yeah.
So much ambivalence. No one knows.
Yeah, well.
So I guess last thing, let's pull that pin out of that Pure Land thought.
Oh, let's not. No. I have to really think about that.
Because you know more about that stuff than I do.
Yeah, I do. I think they definitely did it on purpose.
Calling it pure or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. Especially in English. It's probably on purpose. You could map Buddha realms onto the idea of alternate realities pretty easy. You can definitely get forms of enlightenment in pure illusion.
Because they're basically of the mind. Like pure mind.
I'd have to think about it a lot more. But I think there's definitely something there, and it's probably on purpose. So
it usually is. They seem to put.
Well, that's a hard one to get down, because again, it's another like Western versus Eastern context thing that you'd have to really sit down and chew over for a while. I mean, it's definitely there. It's definitely on purpose. Just like all the sexuality issues there. So, but you just have to you have to think a lot deeper than you might think in order to unravel it all.
Yeah.
So it's too deep for you.
Too deep. Too spooky. Just like that.
Too spook for you.
Just like that spooky episode.
Just knowing there's a skeleton inside you. That episode was super good too.
That was legit creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
Goki Genyo, Ben.
No.
Greetings.
Not only was it creepy, they made it uncreepy, and then they made it more creepy.
They made it creepy again, and then they brought it right back around. Yeah.
Like, wow,
they did it very well.
Good job, guys.
Because it definitely does that thing where it's like, oh, look at this spooky, terrible thing. Oh, look, we can normalize it, and it's actually like not that creepy. And it's like, wait, yes, it is.
So overall, yeah, art was amazing.
Yeah, well worth a watch.
Yeah, it's definitely a 7 or a B.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
So what do we have on the list for next time?
So the magical girl transformations in Flip Flappers, they turn into fairies, right?
Sure.
Like with little fairy wings and everything, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think we should maybe watch Humanity Has Declined, because it's also about fairies.
Oh,
is it?
I'm down for a fairy story.
Oh, it's about fairies, all right.
Oh, those kinds. Okay.
Oh no. It's about fairies.
Oh.
Little brownies. It's about little brownies. It's about little fairies.
Okay.
And how they have replaced humanity.
Oh.
Because humanity has declined and been replaced by fairies.
Okay. Yeah, we can watch that.
This is going to go in a wonderful direction.
All right. I'm down.
Have I told you about time paradogs?
You have. Is that from this show?
It is so from the show.
Hooray!
I Love Humanity Has Declined. It's very good.
Okay, we'll watch that next.
It has some very good jokes.
Okay, I'm totally on board now.
The manga industry two-parter and the time paradox two-parter are very good.
I will watch that then.
Very good. Some arcs are okay, but those two, they are Italian chef kiss.
Delightful. All right, that's what we'll do next. So, for next time, watch Humanity Has Declined. I assume it's on Crunchyroll.
It is on Crunchyroll.
It's on Crunchyroll. So go watch
There
it
we go.
and then join us in 2 weeks for another episode of Aniki.